I don't know how well this is going to go because mathematics is not my thing. Hi, welcome, come on in. My name is Aoife and today on my 3-year BookTube anniversary, I am taking the BookTube numbers tag. This was created by Jim's Books, Reading and Stuff, and I've seen it going around a couple of times, but I knew that this was one that I wanted to keep for one of my BookTube birthdays, and coincidentally, this year my BookTube birthday fell on one of my upload days, so I thought, you know what? This is the perfect opportunity. This is an opportunity to talk about my channel, to talk about all of my reading, how that has been going, and also to give you a little bit of a kind of a look behind the scenes on my channel as well. Let's start with question number 1, which is what was your first BookTube video? And I think it was the Jessie the Reader's version of the Do I Have That Book challenge. I remember standing back in my old apartment in Dortmund and standing in front of my window because that was where all the natural light was, and I had one bookshelf on my left hand side and one bookshelf on my right hand side, and just kind of going backwards and forwards between the two trying to find all the books that I have. I do wonder if it's one that I'm going to go back to, if it's one that I'm going to revisit and try and do it a little bit better now that I'm a little bit more settled into BookTube, now that I kind of know what I'm doing, kind of. Question number 2 is how many books are you currently reading? And at the moment I'm only reading 1, which is a little bit of a surprise because generally I try and do 2. I try and do 1 physical book or ebook and 1 audio book that I can listen to while I'm at work or while I'm out shopping or while I'm out on a walk so that I can still be reading if I want to. I have got that little opportunity to still get reading and still get books in. But I don't have to be sitting down, I don't have to be concentrating on it very heavily, I don't have to have a half an hour specifically where I'm going to read. At the moment, the book that I am reading is Love That Journey for You by Dr. Emily Garside, which is a kind of a look back at the queer journey and the queer evolution of Schitt's Creek, which is one of my all-time favourite TV shows. So I knew that when this book came out, I knew that it was one I wanted to get a look at. And I think that Jean from Jean's Bookish Thoughts has already read this and she absolutely adored it. So I have a feeling I'm going to get along pretty well with it too. Question 3 is what were the top 3 books that you read last year? And this one took a long time to whittle down. But I think the top 3 books that I read were The Appeal by Janice Hallett, which I just completely was sucked into. I think I sat down to read it at 7 o'clock, half 7 in the evening, and did not stop reading until 1 the following morning. Also, there was Again Rachel by Marion Keyes, which is a follow-up to Rachel's Holiday, my all-time favourite Marion Keyes book. And I think it really did the story justice. It really continued it on in such a great way, and it really gave you an insight to these characters, and it really continued their story in a believable way. And like pretty much everyone in the world, last year I read I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. I wasn't a huge Nickelodeon fan as a child. I was much more of a Disney girl. But I did know of Jeanette McCurdy, I did know of Sam and Cat, I did know of iCarly, so I had kind of seen her in and out of things. But it really hit the bone as to how she was treated by her family, as to how she was treated by the people that were supposed to love her and care for her the most. And it was absolutely harrowing and terrifying. Question 4 is how many books did you read last year? And last year I read 116 books. That seems like a lot, but for me it was actually a little bit of a dip. I think in 2021 I read 125. In 2020 I was somewhere in the 130s, I think. So it was a little bit of a dip for me, but there were a couple of things that probably contributed to it. At the end of 2022, I had a massive reading slump in September where I only read about 4 books. Then in October, COVID finally caught up with me, so I spent pretty much a whole entire week in bed. I wasn't able to concentrate on reading. I was barely able to concentrate on TV. So there was an entire maybe 2-3 week period where I wasn't doing a lot of reading. And that probably did set me back a little bit further than I would have been if that hadn't happened. Question 5 is how many books have you given a 5-star rating to this year? So far this year, I think I've given about 5 books a 5-star rating. If we roll up a 4.5 to a 5-star rating, I think we're at 5 books, which is not just more than this time last year, but more than last year overall. I think in 2022, I only gave maybe 2 or 3 5 stars. I think in 2022, my rating system was a lot more rigid, was a lot more structured. I think particularly because 2022 was the first year that I ever used G from Book Roast's call pile system. So I was finding myself to be a little bit kind of more thoughtful with what I was actually giving a book to. I wasn't just giving it 4 stars for the sake of giving it 4 stars, or I wasn't just giving it 5 stars for the sake of giving it 5 stars. I was actually sitting and thinking, how much of an impact has this had on me? Has it had an impact at all? And if so, does it deserve a 5-star, or is it actually more of a 4 or maybe even a 3.5? Question 6 is, do you have a reading target for this year? And if you do, are you on track for it? My reading target is the same as last year. It's 100 books because I felt like I was so close to not actually getting over it at the end of last year that I didn't really want to stretch myself out. I didn't want to go too far. I didn't want to overdo it. So I kept it at 100, but so far it seems doable. Right now, as I film this, I am reading my 17th book. I think I am, according to Goodreads and the Storygraph, ahead by 1 book, which is fine. It could be better, but it's fine. We're ahead. Question 7 is, how long is the book that you're reading? And as you can see, it's actually quite short. So I would be saying it's around 150 pages. It actually isn't even that much. The true narrative of the book, without the acknowledgements, without the about the author, anything like that, is 96 pages. I feel like that is definitely something you can get done in half an hour. It's definitely something I can get done like on the bus if I'm going out, or if I'm going to the office, or if I'm going anywhere. I feel like this is a book I can bring it with me and I have it done in about an hour. Question 8 is, how long are your videos? Usually they rank anywhere between 10 to 15 minutes. It depends on what the situation is. It depends on if it's a TBR. Those are usually quite short because I'm only talking about the books. I don't know a whole lot about them because obviously I've not read them. Tag videos can be approaching the 15 to 20 minute mark, and I have got a couple of vlogs that I've done that are over 30 minutes. If it's just a sit down talking video like this one, I try and keep it under 20 minutes so that people don't get bored, so that people's attention will stay. If it's a vlog, I feel like because you're in different spaces, you're in different areas, you're doing different things, you're showing them different things, I feel like you can be a little bit longer with that one. You could probably stretch it to 30, 45, maybe even an hour. I've never done an hour yet. Maybe it's one that might come in the future if I'm doing like a really big themed vlog, which is not something that I've done yet, but I have got a couple of ideas. But let's see how it goes. Question 9 is, what is your favorite number? And for a really dumb reason, my favorite number is 27. And the dumb reason is because the 27th is my birth date. I think any number that is in my birth date anywhere along the line is one of my favorite numbers, but I think if I had to pick one as of right now, it's probably 27. Final question is, do you have a book anywhere on your bookshelf that includes a number in the title? And I'm pretty sure, like a lot of people, I have got a copy of The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I've just looked over at my pile for my TBR for the Irish Readathon, which is just after starting yesterday, and I have got A Million to One by Adiba Jagader that's on that bookshelf. But let's take a look if there's anything else that I've got in there. Let's see. You want one number? How about I'll give you 3. Once, twice, 3 times an Aisling by Sarah Breen and Emer McLysaght. Those are my answers to the BookTube numbers tag. Do you also have a favorite or a lucky number? If you'd like to leave me a comment but you can't think of anything that you'd like to say, then just leave me the 1, 2, 3 emoji. Don't forget to like and subscribe because I have new videos up every week. Now, get on out of here.